Hi everyone, my name is Kelly and I just wanted to share my testimony. I've been trying to make this video for the last 2 hours, but out of nowhere I just got extremely nauseous. But I just laid down, waited it out, and I feel better now. The devil is a liar. He must really not want my message to get out, but I pushed through. Here I am. So long story short, I have been suffering with uh, a whole bunch of like mental issues for the past like 2 years. And um, it was coming to a point in which it was becoming overwhelming and like too much for me to bear. I was dealing with severe depression, um, OCD, ADHD, PTSD, anxiety, chronic fatigue, insomnia, and I was starting to hear voices in my head nonstop. It was like five different voices in my head. One would be singing, the other would be talking, the other would be talking, the other, like it was just all day long, all night long, nonstop. And sorry, it took me a couple months to share this because it was becoming unbearable for me. Um, it was very, I was in a very dark space. Mentally, I felt like I was in bondage. Um, I felt like I was being tormented. Um, Physically, I was exhausted. But at the same time, couldn't sleep because my mind, it was so much going on in my mind that I could not fall asleep. So I would be up all night, but then in the day, on my off days, unable to get out of bed. So I would try um to drink. I was drinking, I was smoking, anything I could do to not be in my right mind. So I was drinking every day. Anything I could do to escape my reality. I would try to take sleeping pills just to fall asleep because at this point I was like, I don't want to be here. I don't understand my purpose. I don't know why I'm here. I felt like worthless. I was at a point where I'm like, I'd rather be asleep than to deal with life. It was making me paranoid. So it just made things worse. And I was just on a downward spiral. And so nobody knew what was going on. I don't really have that many friends, so nobody knew anything. None of my family members, nobody. I would just make a beeline straight to my room, close the door. I didn't want to talk to anybody. Like, but at the same time, I have a 9-year old, so I'm like struggling trying to meet his basic needs, which was making me feel terrible. Um, so, long story short, I came across, while doing some research, some deliverance videos, and I had only ever heard like just a little bit about deliverance, but I started to, become intrigued and like research and look into it more, and I came across a deliverance video that was like a 2-hour video that was all about mind control demons and the type of demons that operate behind mind control. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this sounds like what I'm dealing with. And so at the end of the video, I said the prayer. And this is back in January, so a few months ago. And the deliverance prayer I said at the end, I kid you not, like that, in an instant, my my whole mind, my whole mind just went quiet. It went quiet. And for the first time, I'm sorry to be on here crying, y'all. But yes, like in a blink of an eye, like just like this, like instantly, my mind felt, I just felt so much lighter. All the voices were gone. And I had heard my own thought for the first time without it being like drowned out by all the other chaos going on in my head in a long time. And it took me a second. And I was like, wait, I can hear my own thoughts. I'm like, God gave me my mind back. Get it together, girl. I'm like, God gave me my mind back. And it was just overwhelming. I was so happy. Words can't even explain the freedom. I felt like it was, my mind was chained up and those chains had been broken off. I no longer had to flicker the light switch a certain amount of times or do all these little rituals that I was like slave to throughout the day. I no longer heard all of those voices in my head. I woke up the next day and it was the first day in a long, long time that I actually felt happy. I felt peace. And I just completely, at that point, this was in January, like mid January, I told God that I completely surrender to Him because there is nothing in this world that I could ever do to repay Him for what He has done for me. Because the devil was trying to make me lose my mind. And had he succeeded, I would not have lasted long on that path. But God reached down His hand and saved me. And so I have always been a Christian, like since I was 4, like filled with the Holy Ghost, speaking in tongues. But I had just strayed so far away that I was doing things on my own. And it had come to a point where it's like, oh yeah, I'm a Christian, but it's like you say that, but you don't really like live it. And so you're just on a path of destruction, and the devil is just having a field day with you. And so from that day forward in January, God met me where I was at, and He never left my side, and He was just waiting for me to come back to Him. He healed my mind. He gave me my peace and my joy back, and He began to transform me that day. Um, and so I started to learn more about deliverance and educate myself more and more. I made sure, as best to my ability, I tried to close all open doors that would give the devil legal rights to, you know, oppress me or become, attached or whatever. I um I stopped listening to secular music. So it, all the music I listened to was gospel. I don't even like I can't even I couldn't explain it. Like I was trying to explain it to my boyfriend. He's like, I've never heard you listen to gospel before. I'm like, I'm just taking it day by day. I don't know. He just literally began to cleanse me and transform me. So I I have been watching sermons every day. I start reading my Bible. I start taking notes, talking to God more, trying to understand more about God and to become closer to him because he was so great and so good to me and I didn't deserve it. And I want to make sure that I walk out the plan that he has for me in this life. And so he set me free, he delivered me, he saved me, and he ignited a fire in me that gave me a sense of purpose again. And so I just want to tell anybody that may be out there struggling with something similar, um, don't give up. God is right there with you and he will meet you where you are at. He loves you. Don't give up.